I believe we're online and or will soon be online. YouTube sometimes takes a little bit longer to kick in when I'm using Restream here. But greetings, what's going on? It's Mike's from LiveMyAssOff.com. I hope you're living the dream. In my opinion, if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. So what I hope to be able to do is to give you guys an idea of some things that are going to be happening here on the channel. What I hope to do, and I'm going to actually wait for, okay, so it just sent out an email saying that I'm live on the balcony. So what I'll do is I'll wait for a few folks to chime in, and then I'll edit this down later. So, oh my goodness, Keith, good to see you, my friend. Now, hopefully everyone on the stream can see the chat. So whether you're on Periscope, Facebook, or YouTube, greetings from Bangkok, Thailand. And so Keith is a great, great guy. And any of my colleagues here on the stream who are in San Diego or anywhere in the United States, quite frankly, but looking for a solutions provider with some integrity, hit up Keith. Keith, remind me you are still with E+. If I'm incorrect, please correct me. But anyway, so Keith had his own organization there in San Diego for a while. Restream just told me I've received 100 messages today with Restream chat. So not quite sure what that means. That could mean that I'm high maintenance. But I guess it's a kudos. So thanks, Restream, and thank you to all of you who participate. And so anyway, so it is, it's 10 a.m. over here, which basically means that it is 7 p.m. On the Pacific time zone, and 10 p.m. On the East Coast. And so, with the exception of my buddy Sean, who I've been talking with, who's in California, I know that it is, let's see, today is Friday here, right? So that means it's Thursday night in California. So, in any case, and I want to make sure this is okay. Cool. So the new ones appear at the top. Excellent. I wasn't sure of the order. Spiridion. Okay. Spiridion. Application Development Cloud Services Company. Ooh. Well, as you know, I'm quite biased towards this whole cloud thing. So if you're at a cloud company, then obviously I need to shout out and show you some. That's how you write Coke Light in Thai. So, and Keith, if you don't know, I've moved to Thailand, and I've resigned from USD because, well, working is for suckers. I would much rather judge from my high horse here on the 10th story of my condo in Bangkok. No, I'm teasing. Greetings, YouTube land. Hey, Jay International. So Jay International is really cool. Check out his channel. I believe what you can do if you're watching from YouTube is you can just basically either click or right mouse click on Jay International and say like go to channel or something like that. Azure, AWS, and Alibaba. The only cool clouds begin with A, Keith. And if you guys follow Alibaba Group or Alibaba Cloud, you'll know that in the last quarter, their revenues have increased 50%. Oh my God. Now, you could argue, well, right, Mike, it's really easy to increase revenue by 50%. When you're Alibaba, because you're only doing I believe their run rate's now finally at $1 billion, and AWS is at, I want to say, like 20 billion, right? So Alibaba is obviously in third place, but anyway, so their earnings call was last night here. It was at 7:30 in the morning East Coast yesterday, and they're doing quite well. Their stock is, I believe, flat. You know what's interesting about Baba stock? Other than the fact that I bought some when it was half the price that it is now. What up? is the fact that their earnings calls come out and they are ridiculously amazing. I mean, if you look at some of the statistics they had on 11/11, which if you don't know, is basically the made-up holiday, 11/11 being Singles Day, 1111, so November 11th, is the online shopping day, basically, in China that eclipses anything. It is actually, so to give you an example of how much they do in sales. So on the Alibaba platform, in 24 hours on November 11th in China, I mean, they do have some foreign sales, but for the most part, it's pretty much China. In 24 hours, they do 2.5 times more sales just on the Alibaba platform than all of Black Friday all the way through Cyber Monday in the entire United States. 2.5 times all of the sales. So online retail, brick and mortar retail for the entire 4 days. Black Friday through Saturday through Sunday, including all of Cyber Monday. 2.5 times the amount of sales we do in the United States for those 4 days on every single website. One company. So I believe they did $38 billion in sales in 24 hours. And at their peak, if I'm quoting their slide correctly from the earnings call last night, at their peak, I want to make sure I get this right, but I believe they said 480,000 transactions per second. So their cloud's robust, and I'm a big fan. So anyway, hashtag buy more BABA. BABA is their stock symbol. I recommend it. It allows me to buy more of these. Anyway, so why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this broadcast? So over the course of me living here, over the course of me traveling here, people, as you might guess, as well as every other YouTube channel about Thailand, gets the question, oh my God, that's so cool. How did you do it? How did you get over there? I really wish I could. Here's what's holding me back, or, that sort of thing. And every guy out there, many of which that I am honored to call certainly acquaintance, very good acquaintance, as well as friend, definitely colleague, but probably like in the top 5 for sure. JC for retirecheap.asia, Thailand Rob Wagner from Thailand Rob. He and I have spent significantly less time together lately, so I won't basically go out there and say, oh my God, he's one of my closest friends, because I don't want to speak out of turn, but I have a lot of respect for him. I think what he puts out there is excellent content. It's data, in fact, it's entertaining, and indeed it does make me laugh. And he's got a heart, which is great. And so, those two guys, I think, do a lot for the Thailand vlogging community. And there are many others too, so trust me, I'm not including anyone on purpose. But the point is that what I find, and to Keith's point, saying that he's a cloud evangelist now like you, well, Keith, then that means you basically need to start wearing scarves on stage. Because without the scarves, Keith, you're just another cloud evangelist. Anyway, so I get a lot of questions, and so what I've sort of come up with, and I've come up with this over the last several years, but quite frankly, I didn't feel like I could sort of throw it out there with any degree of full-on integrity. I've come up with a program that I'm just going to label it, and I'm going to call it Thailand 101, and here's why. Is that the way that I figured out how to come over here and land here with my luggage in November of 2019, with the intention of staying here, with the plan of staying here, and still staying here in 2020, with the plan of staying here for however long I feel like staying here, is that you missed my scarves. I'll tell you what, dude, I can walk down the street. I can buy one of those scarves for $2.12 and ship it to you for only 43 bucks. So how'd you like a $2 scarf? I'll send you a $50 scarf for Christmas. How's that? So I've been doing it, right? And over the course of like several years, I figured out that basically, so how many years does it take to come up with a 2-year plan? 2. right? So I've been coming over here basically on and off for regularly for 6 years, solid. And so 7 years in total. But I've had some experiences. Now, as I've shared before, and when I sort of produce, like in post, this video, I'll throw a link to, sort of the series of why Thailand for me, and how it started on day one, and like how I landed in Bangkok, and I'm like, oh my God, this place is amazing. I want to come back here for sure, but oh my God, I want to live here. Kind of like the first time you land in Maui. Oh my God, I'm gonna live in Maui for the rest of my life. Sure. But the point is that I made this place my home now. And the idea was I'm going to make this place, and whether that was, Thailand when I first found it, and then the next city in Thailand that I loved when I found it, and then the next city, and then the next country like Vietnam, and then, trying out Malaysia, about 4 different cities in Malaysia. The point is that I've had about, 5 solid years of experience of saying, okay, so like I'm going to go there again, and part of this will be vacation, but the majority of it will be figuring out how to make this place my home. And so that's going to be what I'm referring to as Thailand 101. So it's going to start with, sort of, this is how I did it. And if you have any desire to make this place your home, then potentially some of it will resonate with you. It is definitely not the only path to follow. Some of the other, guys that came over here, they were just like, well, you know what, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to try it for a month, and if it works out, great, and if not, well, then my plan is to go home. And Rob is a great example, and he came over here, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. And enough people liked it such that it was like, okay, well, then I can stay here for 1 more month, or I can stay here for 6 more months, or however he did it. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and analyze or judge his life, other than to say that my judgment of it is that it's fantastic. Okay, let me just say that. And it was a huge motivator for me. But, first of all, let me just say, do not commit financial suicide to just pick up everything and say, screw it, I'm moving to Thailand, okay? I didn't come over here until it was appropriate for me to come over here. I vacationed here when it was appropriate for me to go back and earn more money in the delta amount of time to come back over here. But, there's a lot of chatter on the internet, in YouTube, that sort of thing. People that, come up with blogs, and they're just like, it's not. So I'll give you a good example. It's imperfect over here, right? So Jay International just posted the fact that the power just went out where he's at. Now, he is right on Sukhumvit. Now, Sukhumvit is basically, it is, well, okay, first of all, technically, Sukhumvit is the street that labeled Sukhumvit Road, is approximately 1,700 kilometers long, okay? The entire thing. It goes all the way through freaking Thailand. But the piece that the majority of us speak about is the the part that basically goes through the province of Bangkok. Let's just say that, because actually the province of Bangkok ends just about 2 kilometers from where I'm at, the boundary. People still call it Bangkok, much like if you live in, I don't know, Cardiff by the sea. There's a lot of people that say, if you were to ask someone outside of Southern California, where do you live? You'd say, oh, I live in San Diego. Okay, so you get it? Anyway, so you mentioned that the power went off in Sukhumvit. So that's sort of the equivalent of saying, oh, the power just went off down here on 4th Avenue in San Diego. That's a big deal. Now, it might have just been his building, because on the first day that I moved in here, the power went out. But that's one of the things that we're going to talk about, which is, for the most part, the infrastructure here is very reliable. Like if the power went out here today, right now, unannounced. I mean, when the power went out in my building after being here 24 hours, it was announced. I mean, there was notices everywhere. They're like, look, we're really sorry for the inconvenience. These are planned upgrades. It's actually not just our building. There's several buildings along the street. Yeah, and so Jay International brings up a good point. So Thailand's video, Why I Quit. And that goes through a really great sort of scenario of meaning why I quit, where he worked, but also why he sort of, quit the whole rat race that a lot of people label it. And again, I'm not going to speak for him. You can watch the video. because it was great. No amount of money making, and so the statement that he makes, I like Thailand Rob's video, Why I Quit. I can relate being in the finance industry and no amount of money making it feel fulfilling, though the money does help. Yeah, money will not solve all of your problems, but lack of it can certainly create many. Isn't that true? James Earl Ray was a buddy of mine from San Diego. Not a buddy of mine, an acquaintance of mine. Sorry, let me be clear. And he was one of those guys that was in The Secret. If you ever heard of that DVD that was very popular for a while, about 10, 12 years ago. In any case, the interesting thing about the whole, wheel that we get on in the United States. Let me first say that it is a wheel of success. And without that wheel, I wouldn't be sitting here today, okay? Without the ability to go through what, a lot of people refer to as the rat race, I wouldn't have the savings that I have. Now, it's not the only way to get it. Let me just say that the opportunity is, I think, afforded to you much easier, it's much more available opportunity in the United States than in other countries. And I will give you a great example that is not even 24 hours old. I am at a seminar yesterday, let's call it that. And it was a internet marketing seminar, and it was one of these where the guy gets up on stage and he basically professes his wild success online, doing things on the internet. And the scenario, which I'm sure you've heard many times, is that I've been wildly successful at this, and so here is my pedigree, right? However, I had a life-changing event. In this case, I had triplets, and he had children, and so therefore he was going to focus more on his family, and therefore he was going to do less of this business that apparently made him millions of dollars in revenue. They rarely clarify that it is profit. It's traditionally revenue, top-line revenue. They don't usually clarify how much profit they make, which is, I find, lacks integrity. It's my opinion. But nonetheless, he was describing how he was wildly successful, and like many of these. But now I'm here to teach you how to do it because that just simply is better. That makes me feel better to teach people how to do it versus to continue to do it myself and potentially continue to take millions of dollars. I'm through doing that. And I look at that with a very cynical eye. So I'm sorry if that's coming across in a negative way, but that's how I look at it. So regardless, one of the statements that I made, and I go to these things, yes, to judge them, but I also go to these things because I'm never going to learn less. And one of the nuggets that I took away was how pretty much everyone except me in the audience was at least Asian, the majority of which were Thai. He was from Malay. But he made the statement about, and I'm paraphrasing, us Asians sometimes think that those in the West, guys like me, potentially some guys like you, that only those guys can be successful. And you are received, and went through this speech that I'm thrilled that he did this, which was, you're responsible for your success. You're also responsible for your failures. It's not your parents' fault that you're unsuccessful. It's not the government's fault. It's not your surroundings or whatever. And you can't, expect the government to make you successful or that sort of thing. It's up to you to make yourself successful. And we now have the opportunity to be as successful or more successful than those people in America, basically, those people in the West. And as I was in the front row, unfortunately, so I couldn't really sort of view the reactions without turning around and obviously looking at everybody. But there was basically a lot of yeah. And I had kind of forgotten this, that over the last several years, and this is another thing I'm going to talk about in this Thailand 101, is that one of, I think, the great things, great opportunities we have, because I would assume that the majority of people that are going to care about this Thailand 101 presentation thingy, series, if you will, that I'm going to give, and I'm not going to charge for it. um, I'm not teaching this because all of a sudden Gracie and I were having this life-changing thing, and now I need to spend more time on teaching versus all of the ways that I've made. No. It's just basically, all it is I'm announcing a certain playlist that I'm going to have on YouTube. So it's all going to be condensed into that, and I'll probably make a website to make it. The point is that I really think that it's important to summarize all of the ways that I got over here, rather than to sort of just haphazardly have videos at random come up, or to think about it on the fly as I'm walking down the sidewalk. One of my subscribers, that guy, thank you very much for always watching and commenting. I appreciate it. He mentioned that my my videos are, oh God, I want to get what he said right, because it was a really neat comment and I really appreciated it. He said that they are a blend of sanity and fun. And so I really appreciated that, because, at the end of the day, I like to think I've got a, fairly positive, at least, personality, and I look at life with, potentially rose-colored glasses on sometimes, but also, with some degree of realism. I think so. But then again, that's my bias, right? Of course, I think what I do is good. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it, right? But the point is that rather than just me come up with these little buckets of these little nuggets of insanity while I'm walking down the sidewalk as I'm leaving immigration, amidst me talking about how cool it was to sit on an air-conditioned bus, I figured I'd try and put it into sort of a bucket. And that bucket, traditionally, we'll call it a YouTube playlist. And so that is what this whole discussion around sort of Thailand 101 will be. And I don't know if I'll do it via live streams, or whether I'll do it like this, which of course right now is a live stream, but I'm basically just getting ready to head out. And for basically 30 minutes, I wanted to say hello to you. I also wanted to test the, what I'm referring to is the Jonathan 1000, because thank you, Jonathan Cortez, who helped me get this, that over there. The chat window that you see that has all of the chat displayed for those people watching, whether they chime in via Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. So, and I also realized that you can also do now live streaming on LinkedIn. You do need to apply for it. Now, I've got over 5,000 connections on LinkedIn, so the chances of me being able to do it are high with that metric. However, I don't have regular live streams that I do, so quite frankly, I don't believe that I'm providing enough value for them to say, yes, Mike, we should allow you to do this in our sort of beta time. So I'll wait till I start doing these regularly if they in fact add value. I think it's kind of a neat little way to do videos anyway, and so since I'm sort of like waxing philosophically right now, inside of the condo, and I kind of think the view outside of the balcony is kind of nice. So I'm trying that now with, I'm going to say with the GoPro, but to be fair, it is not a GoPro. It's an SJ4000, a type of action cam that if you're from the United States, you probably haven't heard of. It's a very common action cam / replacement for a GoPro over here, because it is effectively 25% of the cost. And does pretty much the same thing, and so I'm just USB'd into that thing, and I think I got it online for like $80, and it's 1080p, and so it's fine, and especially for what I use it for, because I think I've only used it like 4 times, and the majority of the time I used it was for the video that Gracie and I were doing when we rented Cagdanao Island in the Philippines, and we had that pool out in front of the house, between the house and the Pacific Ocean, because of course, why swim in the Pacific when, well, if it's only 150 meters to the beach, but it's only 50 meters to the pool, well then clearly you need a pool. Yeah. Quality problems. Anyway, so it's been about 30 minutes, and so I want to sign off, but I wanted to just put it out there that I'm going to be doing this Thailand 101 thing. I would love your input. I would love your support, but I would also love your comments as those come out. I will try and figure out a way to, because some of them are going to be pre-recorded, I'll try and figure out a way to get those to post to Periscope as well as Facebook. If you don't know, it's very easy to automatically post on my Facebook wall, on my Facebook pages, at the same time that a YouTube video goes live and that sort of thing, as well as Twitter. But what I can't do automatically is post to my Facebook wall, my Facebook news feed, which one could argue is the majority of the way that most people find out about the stuff that we all do as people on Facebook, right? I don't have a Facebook page, but one could argue maybe I should get one. So maybe that's one of the things that I'll do prior to getting all of this assembled and everything. So anyway, that said, I'm also at livemyassoff@gmail.com. So if you guys have any questions, I think I'm connected with many of you on Facebook because I have just over 700 subscribers. And thank you to the more recent 70 plus people who have subscribed in the last month. I am honored, and I hope I add value to your life. If I do, please tell some of your friends, and if they can subscribe, that would be really awesome too. If I don't add value, please let me know. Ideally, not publicly, but that's fine if you feel as though that's the best way to communicate with me. Ryan, thanks a lot, man. Good to see you again. Ryan is one of those guys that I worked with USD at, and it was one of those really cool times in our lives, at least. So. Anyway, so hashtag live the dream, because Ryan, as you know, if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. So I'll talk to you guys really soon. And again, live my ass off at gmail.com if you have any questions. Favorite country in Southeast Asia? Okay, that's a great question, and I'll end with this, Damien. My favorite country overall in Southeast Asia is Thailand. But realize that for the most part, you live in cities and not countries. But I will say, as a country, Thailand so far is my most favorite country. Now, with a caveat that Singapore is a country and a city, and I love everything about Singapore except the cost. Jonathan Cortez, thank you so much. If you don't know, you can rewind the video. We are referring to the chat window, my friend, as the Jonathan 1000. And that's why the chat looks great, buddy, is because it's the Jonathan 1000. So, yeah, you're very welcome, Damien. Yeah. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'd be honored to answer them as best I can. So, hope you're living the dream. If you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. Ciao.